Welcome everyone. So this is a quick tutorial on how to do a whip stitch join. Very simple. Looks a little bit like the pull loop through join, but this is actually sewn, not crocheted. So normally you might be asked as part of your pattern that you're working on to leave long tails at the end of your motif so you can use them to stitch up and join, and I will do that and I'll show that to you. But first I'm going to teach you the technique using some contrasting colour so you can see the difference. So let me just thread up some yarn and we'll start. Okay, so I have a contrast colour on my needle and a little piece of yarn. Now you can join this to the back somehow with a knot if you're using a separate piece of yarn, not a tail off your existing piece. But what we're going to do is we're going to come up through the corner of this piece. Now you can secure this any way you prefer. I'm just doing a sample, so I'm not going to secure it. I'm just going to hang on to it, and then if I was doing this for real, I would then work away that tail later. Now here's how we do it. Here's my needle, there's my second square. It's basically go down through the top of this corner and come back where you started, just like that, just to get going. Pull it through with a decent amount of tension, but not too much tension. You know, you want it to connect, but not, you know, completely cinch together. So that's, we've started, all right? That's just getting started. Now, all we're going to do all the way down is just over sew, basically. We're doing exactly what we do with a, pulling a loop through join, but we're going to use a needle. So you can see where your stitches have to go by matching up the top loops. So you just go down through the top loops of this side, up through the top loops of this side, and pull the needle through, and there's your second stitch. Now my first one's always going to be loose because I don't have it attached to anything, but there's the first one. Find the next two. There's them, there's those, down through those, up through those. It's a very simple technique. I'll do a few more and then we'll talk about tension. If you've got a flat surface and you're working like this, it's quite good if you're new to this. If you're not new to this and you're working in your lap and you just pinch it up like this, it's also easy. There's my top loops there, there's the next lot of top loops there, pull through, and away we go. Top loops, top loops. So it's going through both top loops, and now stop every so often and check that you've got a bit of give. We don't want to pull this square down to cinch on itself like this. We want it to sit proudly up above like that, but with a little bit of stretch in it, as much stretch as your work has. Alright, so let's just keep going. It's just basic sewing, and I know a lot of people don't like sewing, I'm one of them, but I actually find this quite easy to do and relaxing. There you go, all the way down, nothing to it. Whip stitch, whipping through the stitches. I don't know how it came to be called whip stitch, but I'm not a sewer either, so I just have to go with the flow. There we go. Now I've reached my corners. There they are, one there and one there. We're going to do exactly the same, into the corner and out up from the other corner, and now I've joined my corner. Now at this point I don't know what is happening with your pattern, so you have to read your pattern. If I have another square here to join, I guess I will be coming back across and joining into the next corner and another square with the next corner and continuing on down. I don't think I have another square, I have a different colour square, here we go, and down. And you will just keep connecting, all right, like that. And you just work down. But you've got to check your own pattern because I can't see it. All right, that's that for the whip stitch join using a contrast colour so you can see what it looks like. Now I'm going to do it using the tails, and you'll see how they just disappear and blend in and you wouldn't even know. Okay, but two critical things. Getting clearly into the corners, both of them, across the top, getting clearly under the top loops of both sides of your piece. Okay. You can see that the top loops have all kind of disappeared, and they create this really nice, almost like a rope effect, like a braid effect. I quite like that. So that's that. Now let's go back to the original colour of the tails and you'll see how it blends in. Right, so now with the same colour and a tail, an offcut, got my one square, I've got my other square, I'm in the corner of the first square, I've got to go down into the corner space of the second one, come back to the first one and pull my yarn through to start. Now I've got to find my top loops. Oh goodness, it's a busy day today out in the street. And my first top loops are here. I didn't really go into this before, but because I don't want to take too long about it, but there we go. There's my first two top loops. Top loops there, top loops here. Very hard to see when it's all one colour, isn't it? Make sure you go under the thread, not over it. Top loops, pull through. Now you can see, well, you can see that you can't see. You actually can't see the stitches. So if I do how I normally sew and just fold this a little bit, you can see top loops, very easy to see, pull. Top loops, pull. I'm trying to keep my thread out of the way, but it's kind of hard when you're working because it's unnatural to be working this way. But there you go. Now if you look for it, you can see there is that whip stitch going over the two sets of top loops, but because it's the same color, it's basically invisible. Top loops, pull through. That's it. Very, very simple. This is what it looks like when you use a contrast color. This is what it looks like when you're using the same color. Completely disappears. So just go all the way down and all the way around. Please, please, please check the pattern that you're working, because that will tell you, make sure there's a bit of give in this. That will tell you exactly what you're trying to do, and normally a border goes on and brings these two corners together and levels them off when you're working in bigger projects. But always, always, always check your pattern. This is just the technique of how to do a whip stitch. Grab your top loops, first two, top to bottom, or the first two up from the bottom for the second two, and pull through. And just being mindful not to over tighten everything. So there you go. That is the whip stitch. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the whip stitch, but when I do use it, the contrast colour always makes it look like a bit of a braid. So this is whip stitch using a needle. Catch you next time.